I don't know how we'll start this interview off, but this is a great way to get into this. But Kevin, and actually, I'm moving out east. I'm moving into New Brunswick, not to next month. Our closing date for the house is December 1st. So
Oh, really? That's amazing. Good for
yeah,
you. What made you choose out east?
um, affordable housing.
Oh, yeah. Is it much more affordable over there?
Yeah, you get a little bit more bang for your buck. It's kind of like
Yeah, yeah.
what
And as a
houses
new
prices.
father, that's something that you can appreciate too. Which, by the way, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, no, I don't know why I was mentioning going out east. What were we talking about? Did I say something before?
Um,
I can't
yeah,
even
I'm not
remember.
sure what
Oh,
your
Just
oh,
segue to that was,
because
but it is.
b- um because this whole Halloween special that we did was kind of like I mean, this is going to be one of the last things Tyler and I was going to shoot in person because I'm out
yeah.
in Dunville right now. I don't even live in St. Catharines, so I'm still already 40
Oh,
minutes away
oh, I
as
see.
is. So like we wanted to we had so many ideas to kind of do like a last thing, and I think this just kind of fell into place. If we do have time, we'll maybe do one more thing like that. But yeah, no, that's mainly why we just kind of had fun with it. It was just this ridiculous
Cool.
special that we put
But
together.
you're going to continue to do the show like even after you move over there and everything, or
Remotely,
just like
yeah,
on your own house?
absolutely, yeah, and we're probably even going to split. Like right now, the scope is very much on like Ontario and local Ontario stuff, which is definitely like we have a lot to bite off, almost more than we can chew. In some senses, when we cover the local stuff, because there's so much fucking music always coming out, which is great. It's not a
Absolutely,
bad.
yeah.
It's nothing. It's not a bad problem to have. Um,
Hmm.
but maybe we're going to expand that scope just a little bit outside of Ontario when I move out east, just because
Mhm.
we have more bands to cover and whatnot. We'll see. We're going to play it by ear, but like, yeah, that's just
Yeah.
kind of how
If
where
you're
the
over
show's
there
going to be
already,
at.
why not include bands that are from there? Then like that's a good idea.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
that's
a
the
good
whole.
it's a good excuse to open it up
Hmm.
in general.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
like I imagine like while there is a lot of Ontario music, like it might pose like certain limitations on you when there are like interesting music things that you want to cover that doesn't necessarily fall in that category.
We
Mm-hmm.
do what we want in that. Like we just cover like Better Lovers and Keith and like stuff like that because we're interested in it. But yeah, it's there's benefits and then there's definitely like downsides to being niche like this. So
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah,
Um,
we'll
Totally see
see.
that.
were you recently were visiting out east, or sorry, west? Sorry, west, the other side.
Yeah, I spent a few days in BC actually. Me and my partner Kelly flew out there and like had an amazing adventure.
Oh, so it was just like a vacation they had. For some reason, I thought you were like staying out there for a
Hmm.
while.
No, not. I think we were there like 5 days.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah. It was
Yeah.
incredible. I absolutely fell in love with it. I was born there, actually, in case you didn't know that.
Really?
But we moved when I was a baby, so I had no memories of BC at all. But
Mm-hmm.
like in my entire adult life, I've always had like this kind of like bucket list thing of like going west and like seeing like the part of Canada that I was born in. Just like I don't know, something always kind of just called to me about out west, and like it just felt so right being there. Like I felt so at home, and I don't know. I think that at some point in my life, I'll probably move out there.
Nice, nice. And was there particular activities that you and your partner did out there while you were doing like what did you do?
A lot of nature stuff because we're staying in Nelson, so it's like very mountainous and like
Yeah.
trails and old growth forests and like that's kind of the stuff that like always spoke to me about BC, like seeing the pictures and stuff of how freaking gorgeous it is out there. And I'm a big sucker for like going out in nature and exploring and like doing outdoor things. And I'm like a big appreciator of those kind of things. So going there to one of the most beautiful places on the planet where I also like happen to be born is just like so moving and so unreal.
So does that mean you were just like you were raised in Niagara all your life?
Yeah, so when I was born, we moved very shortly after that to Quebec, just temporarily, and then after that we moved to Niagara Falls just temporarily, and then ended up settling in St. Catharines, which is where I grew up and where I lived until I was about 23.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
So we already got into this, and I forgot to address the audience. If we haven't known already, this is Kevin Fournier from many projects. I mean, No Orphans, Strict Month. I'm going to reference your old high school band, A Minute Till Midnight. Like
The
you've also
Heater.
been on you've been on the show. Oh, the Smiling Eyes too. I remember it all.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I've been a part of a lot of different stuff.
and yeah, Strict Month is your new project. We've had you on the show before when it was just audio, so we're glad that you came back. Strict Month is
Yeah,
your new
I'm happy to
project.
be here.
We
Thank you, by the way, for having me.
Yeah, we were so excited to see that you were like putting something out again, like because I mean I'm always just a fan of your music in general. So to see that
Oh,
you had
thanks,
like
man.
full creative control over something within an age where the technology is there for bedroom studios, like
Yeah,
we come
absolutely.
across this all the time on the show. Like I loved it. So yeah, Strict Month.
Oh,
Let's get into this.
thanks, man.
Where's the name come
Yeah,
from?
please. So strict month is a term that I used to just like kind of in a casual way refer to a period every year that for a few years I was doing where for 30 days I would just like go very, very clean and very motivated and kind of like militant on myself about behaviors that I need to be doing more or that I should be doing less of. So, like, my strict month every year was usually in January, and I would like cut out all the substances. I would like eat very clean. I'd get much more focused on like exercise and practicing the drums and doing music things in a productive way. Where it was like for that 30 days, my sole focus is just like kind of to better myself in a way. And it just like made sense, especially with the spirit of what the project is, like me doing everything on my own from like the writing and arranging of the tunes to recording all of it by myself and like shooting the videos. It's all like a byproduct of the habits that I made while doing my initial strict month, like the ability to apply myself for like prolonged periods in the pursuit of a creative project, or like in that case in like kind of a self-bettering kind of way. So I thought it was like kind of and actually my girlfriend Kelly is the one who suggested the name strict month, and immediately I was like, oh, that's just perfect.
I love that. And we love Hereditary song. We did the
Oh,
reaction
thanks
to
so
it,
much.
and
I know. Oh my God. I was so like, I almost in tears smiling at like just the nice things that you guys were saying about it, especially because it was my first single from a project that I was like, only I was hearing it for like a year because I was recording the record for an entire year by myself with only like select few people in my life hearing it. And so when I was putting out the first song, obviously it's like a pretty vulnerable thing to like
Mhm.
put out there. And so after I put it out and I was having like I wouldn't call it a crisis, but like you know what I mean? It's out there now, and I'm like, I don't know what people
Mhm.
are thinking. Like, is it cringe? Do people hate it, or is it good? And so, like, to see your guys' reaction to it, and that was the reaction that you had, like, especially during that time, it was like it did a lot for my confidence and about the release.
Oh
So
well,
thank you
I'm
for that.
glad
And sorry to derail your
glad we
thought.
invoked that. That's great. Yeah, I know. We like I said, we loved the tune. We loved. So did you edit that as well? Because I know you shot it all.
Yeah, that is completely my doing.
Really? So
That's like
let's
the thing
like
that I
I
love about this project. I'm sorry, go.
no, I was just gonna say. No, go ahead. I love that.
Uh, I kind of lost my train of thought there. I was, because you
That
asked if
you're
I edit
doing
the videos.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's that's what I was going to say. It's one of the things that I love most about this particular project is the ability to not have to rely on other people to get shit done. You know what I mean? Like I don't have to arrange rehearsals. I don't have to make sure that people can show up to do recordings. I don't have to communicate my musical ideas to people so that they can like get it. Which it's something I love to do. I love communicating, especially like in the studio or something like that, where you're like talking about musical parts, but there's something really cool about it just being entirely streamlined. You know what I mean? Everything that I think of can just flow out of me without any roadblocks of like scheduling or communicating an idea or having to like uh, balance other people's ideas with my own, that kind of thing. And that definitely spills over into the video editing as well. Cause I basically learned how to edit videos on the fly, just like you had every step, just like YouTubing. Okay, how do I do this thing? And now I'm at
Mm-hmm.
a point with the software where it's just like, oh, okay, I have a basic understanding of how I can do the thing that I have in mind. And yeah, Hereditary Song was like my learning landscape while I was learning how to edit video and everything. And everything was just trial and error, just like putting a phone on it, or not a phone. I wasn't even using a phone. I was using a DSLR or camera on a tripod and just like putting it around the room.
Turned out great, honestly. As someone who edits our videos always, and Tyler edits our videos as well, we put a lot of work into it, and like it's no easy feat for something that only gets, it's only so long, especially like a music video. To have it come out as awesome as it did, we loved it. Like
Yeah.
so I wanted to touch a bit about it because I think we talked a bit about it in private. So the ghost in Hereditary Song, is that supposed to represent some sort of metaphor for like a past addiction or a past person, or?
So it's kind of has like multiple prongs, I guess, in my mind. The primary one is, yeah, it's like acknowledging your maybe like your shitty past, like parts of yourself that you're not proud of, that like, you know what I mean, as you're growing up and learning how to be like an empathetic and good person, hopefully like the mistakes that you make along the way that stick with you, and that like hopefully, and this is kind of like the message of the song, by like being able to like reckon with that part of yourself, you can like have a lot of personal growth and like learn about yourself and learn how not to be in the world, and like how people need to be treated, and everything like that. And so like that's kind of like one prong of the meaning of that song. And then the other one, it's where the Hereditary Song part of it comes from, is like the qualities within yourself that may have contributed to you being like a less than great person or whatever. Some of those things are passed on to you by your family and are beyond your control, like certain behaviors, or like the way that you react to certain situations, or like, you know what I mean, we inherit things from our parents, that, and like that, I mean, that's like proven, basically. Maybe I shouldn't say proven, because I don't want to like paint myself into a corner, but you know what I mean, we
It's
do.
inevitable, though.
Yeah. And so Hereditary Song is like about, again, the kind of the journey towards like reconciling yourself to those traits that maybe like you've always tried to like disavow from yourself, because like we always say like, oh, I'm never going to be my parents, I'm, you know what I mean, I'm going to, but like it seems to be like this gravitational pull as you get older, where you start realizing like, oh shit, like this is, I recognize this behavior in myself from things that I used to see in my parents that used to irk me, you know what I mean? And it's like, I feel like a lot of people can relate to that kind of thing, where it's like you, beyond your actual intention, end up becoming your parents in a way. And I think, again, just like with like the first prong of that, the meaning of that song, like we can use that as like kindling for a fire that you can make for yourself, that ends up like purifying yourself, you know?
Mm-hmm. I think that's great, and not to speak for you, Tyler, but I think we can both relate to that pretty heavily.
Yeah, very much so.
I feel like a lot of
Yeah.
people can. That's why I thought it was like a kind of a nice kind of theme for that song.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And so you said you have a record in the pocket.
Yeah, I've got a completed full length album that I really want to be finished releasing, because, like I said, it's been like, now I'm verging on 2 years of being that being my big project, and the
Really?
actual album has been done forever, but like because of the way that people release music now, it didn't make any sense for me to just like drop the whole album.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm doing like this staggered release thing. And also I have my friend Anthony. I think you guys know Anthony Albanese.
Mm-hmm.
He's been helping to like polish my mixes for me too, because like I only have so much experience mixing music, and he's like got tons of experience, but he's got a very limited schedule. So like I kind of have to like wait for the mixes to trickle in so that I can release all of it. But the most of the songs on here are super old. Like the newest one is the one that I just put out for product placement, like the kind of fast punk sounding one.
Mm-hmm.
and that song's like 3 years old. Like the whole, I was thinking about calling the album prequel because it's all songs, like some of the oldest songs on there date back to when I was like 19.
Right.
And so the album was just like about taking songs that I felt were really good songs, but I didn't have the means to record them in a way that I was satisfied with. And so like I just basically learned how to do it and got like sufficient gear so that I can do it all myself. And that's what this album is. But I'm so beyond tired of these songs because it's all super super old music, and I'm writing new music and I want to get it out to people, but like now now it's on the conveyor belt behind this whole album, so it might be a while before I can do that.
Mm-hmm. Now, can we expect a bonus track of the Kitty song? Come on.
Kitty song, probably not. I would say that's
I loved
I'll
that
leave
track.
Yeah, I thought you might ask about this because I heard you bring it up a couple of times. But yeah, that uh, it was a kind of a mixed reaction, I'd say, to the Kitty song. It was just
Sure.
like a silly, like fun song that I had made a video for, and when I put it out, like especially like how long ago it was when there wasn't a lot of like YouTube viral things happening, I put it up
Right.
and like within a couple of days I had like 2,000 views, and I was like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
And but because like anything that like gets any kind of attention on the internet, it wound up on 4chan,
Oh.
and I had a pretty merciless like couple of days where people were saying horrible things about
Oh,
it.
that's awful.
And so yeah, and so like that got under my skin in a pretty real way. And after a few years of it being there, and like it would kind of just like sit on the back of my mind for a while, like it was just something I wanted to exercise from my mind,
Right.
and so I think I was like in my early 20s where I was just like, I'm just going to remove it because I don't know, I just felt better about it. It's not that I was like ashamed of it or anything. It was just like a weird sore spot
Well,
in my
yeah.
history.
Yeah, it's a weird site to end up on and have to be like for what
Yeah.
in an age where TikTok videos and stuff are shoved down our throat, and this kind of stuff would have easily thrived. That video easily would have been a viral sensation. It already was technically.
I've thought about that actually since, and I was like, it would be such a TikTok song.
It is a TikTok song, and next thing you know,
Yeah,
you have
exactly.
it was before you were before the time, man. You were before the videos.
Yeah, no, I was ahead of my time.
Yeah, ahead of your
Visionary.
I
time.
also
No.
like. I guess I haven't seen it in literal years, but I feel like you'd have to be pretty like intentionally obtuse to not see the irony in what you're doing.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, like, if you think that people are intentionally obtuse now after years of like the like increasing light being shed on internet behavior, people were way more intentionally obtuse back then and like intentionally just as brutally mean as they could be,
Right.
Yeah, no.
Now, like
It
that was the wild west of the internet
Yeah,
days.
exactly. Yeah, you put it out when like the internet was like normalized the worst possible behavior.
Yeah, that was while Is Anyone Up was still on.
I was just about to mention that.
Unbelievable. I can't believe that. And like it was just like it was something where like we were all like, oh yeah, I guess that's just a thing that exists now. I guess that's the thing we'll navigate.
We all just accepted that was like, oh, that just is out there. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
But like, and if it like happened to someone you'd be like, all right, well, just get over that, I guess. Like,
Yeah,
it's
just like a shattering thing for a person to go through.
It's absurd. It's absurd. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Jeez.
Man.
Horrible.
It's a shame that that's where it ended up, because like I said, I thought that was such a good, maybe one day we'll see the Kitty song.
It did cross my mind to like do like a re-recording of it, because it was a bit like one of my like more notable songs, I guess. And just like with the rest of the songs on the album, like there was a moment where I was like, maybe it deserves like a re-recording, and I was actually going to do it as like a bonus track on the album, like how in the old days, like you would see a CD and it would be like,
just do it faster, give it a little
at the end of Dookie, they had that All By Myself tune. It would have been maybe in the same realm.
Now, speaking of your pet friends and making appearances in your videos, your dog shows up at the very end of Hereditary song.
Oh yeah. That all happened by chance. Like I always am looking for an opportunity to put Zoe in stuff because she's beautiful. Like she's the most gorgeous dog I've ever laid eyes on. and it didn't really work out because I wasn't gonna like force her into it, but like occasionally if she just happens to be there, I'll like get her in the shot or something. And it didn't happen throughout any of the shooting of like the music part of the video and like the story stuff of the video. Which, as an aside, I don't think I'll do like a narrative part in the future videos because it was really really hard to balance like the music shots that I wanted with trying to like shoehorn in like a bit of a story as well. I'm glad that I did it. And it was a cool experience, but it was like a lot of planning, and like I had to bring in other people to like hold the camera and stuff, and like I hate relying on people like that because it's like scheduling and everything. I just want to do everything as it comes to me, kind of thing. And it's much easier. The second video I didn't put in a story. I just wanted to like film me playing the tune because I think that's more interesting. But at the end of shooting Hereditary Song, it was the last scene of the video, and I had just come from the gig because in the video, like it's like day in the life basically with the damn ghost following me all day, and then I end up at the gig with the '90s band and everything. And at the end of the night, I just needed one more shot because in the end of the story, it was like the ghost comes home, it's too drunk. I kind of help him into the house and put on the couch and everything like that. And all of the pieces just like fell into place perfectly. We go in, my girlfriend Kelly was actually drunk, and so she just plopped down on the couch. I was like, wait, put the ghost costume back on. I need one more shot. I put her in the ghost costume, and then Zoe was in that prime spot right on the floor, and she was doing that adorable thing that I love that she does when she's just like,
yeah.
And she was doing it forever. And so I got the camera set up, and I was like, oh, I'm going to take my pants off because that's what I would do if I was just coming home from a gig. So I got my pants off, managed to think of that. And then like in a stroke of genius, I was like, oh, a garbage bucket for puking in for the ghost. Plop that right down in front of Kelly. And
My
then
favorite detail.
Well, more so than this detail, maybe not. But then it occurred to me that I still have half of a watermelon in the fridge that, in my weird way of eating with the spoon, it was already half eaten, which adds to like kind of the comedy of it to me. It's like, and so like I just managed to get all the pieces like in a flurry of just like, oh, this is all working out really well. Sat down, put the camera on, and I'm like in my underwear eating the watermelon, and Zoe's just there like for so long. The cut that you see in the video, it was actually much longer than that. But I was like, it's I had to condense it to like a reasonable length. But I thought it was so fucking hilarious. I was dying. And then when I was editing it, I had the idea to like do like the close up thing where it like pans up into her face and then the red eyes and everything. I still get a kick every time I see that.
Oh, it's so good. I actually haven't, truthfully, I haven't had the pleasure to listen to your second single because you do have a video up for it, and I tend to like to give honest reactions when we do reactions videos. So we'll probably do another one soon. But yeah,
I've got a third video that I just finished actually yesterday. Well, I still have like a bit of color correction and like effects and stuff to do, but I've got a third video which is going to be like kind of like the ballad single. I'm really excited for that one.
Phil,
yeah.
Did you say we hadn't listened to the second single?
Oh wait, no, we did do a reaction to
it. I've cut an entire reaction. It's coming out next week. We talk about how much we like the song.
Dad
you'll
brain,
see it next
man.
week. You
just got amnesia, man. Somebody dosed you.
It's like what I just finished editing.
I just tried to gaslight you. Like we never did that.
Funny. It's because we filmed it weeks ago.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, okay,
that's
I
right.
see. I see.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
You just broke my head. I'm like, you've heard the song. It's the fast punk one. We know about this song.
That's right. Yeah. So I love that you're wearing a Jeff Rosenstock shirt because I was going to bring
You picked up on it. I was wondering if you would.
No, yeah, that's a great album. That might
I'm so glad that you know the album because I was going to just gush all about that album. I think it's his best one yet. So good, he is my favorite songwriter, hands down, especially with this new album. Just blows my mind. He is so fucking good. It blows my mind.
Yeah, no, true. I haven't gotten to listen to this record yet, but I have heard nothing but good things about it. Have you gotten to see him live?
Yeah, a couple of times actually. His live show, one of the best I've ever seen. The energy that
Really?
that guy puts out, and like the crowd singing along, and just like the feeling in the air, it's like unmatched. I mean, you've been to a lot of Pup shows, so you know, Pup is kind of like in the same ballpark, I would say,
That's
as
right.
Jeff Rosenstock. I always think of Pup as Jeff Rosenstock's like younger brother. That's kind of like the way that I view. Actually, my girlfriend put that in my head, but it's very apt. And so, like, if you know, like, kind of the general energy and the sing along energy of a Pup show, then like that's not too far off what you get at a Jeff Rosenstock show.
Yeah, I've played a Pup show.
That's right. You got on stage with Pup,
That's right,
or like
dude.
you. Tell me the details again. You did the where you recorded the cover of their song, and then they
Hmm.
invited you to come and play your cover of it on stage with them. Is that right?
That's right.
But it was a cover you wrote before they released their
Before
song. Like
hearing
they
it, because you
Yes.
got
released
the
like,
chord changes in the lyrics, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's it. That's so cool.
That's so
And
cool, man. What an
I
experience that
like,
must have been.
yeah, it was wild. I straight up cold email, like shot an email to them after we had already like sent the video back, and they like, I think they sent like like when they got it, they were like, "This is amazing." And I think I followed up with that email being like, "We noticed that you're playing Toronto, and we're from Niagara. Can we open for your show?" Like I straight up was like, "Can I open your Danforth show?" And they were kind of like
That's so
respectfully
sick.
like, "We have openers already set up, but we have a cool idea where you come out on stage, use our gear, which is mind blowing. Any musician knows that, like." Using somebody else's gear is like putting on somebody's shoes. Like it's just not the
Yeah.
same thing at all. Come out,
Right.
use
Oh
our
wait, so you got
gear.
to use your own gear?
No, we had to use
Oh,
their
you
gear.
use their gear. Oh, that's to me that's so sick because like in an ordinary setting, I'd be like, oh, using other people's gear, but like it's Pup. Like
It's pop.
you get to
So
play
yeah,
Pup's gear.
I
That's
guess
so sick.
yeah, I guess in that sense it's cool. I mean, I'm a vocalist, so I just the mic is I didn't have to do it, so I obviously
Yeah, I
wasn't
suppose.
out of my comfort zone. And yeah, we got to play our version of their song before they played their version. And yeah, they were super respectful of that, and I liked that. That was awesome. There's just footage somewhere out there. It was a good time.
Man, that's
Also,
like one of those
because
lifetime memories that you'll always remember, and like
it's
that's so
true, it's the
cool.
biggest audience I've ever played to. It was like a sold out Danforth, which is like
And you have like
2,000
a
people.
oh man, so sick.
Yeah.
That's
And
so
in the
cool, man.
music video that we did for them, I'm dancing in my underwear. So what I did is when I came out on
Right.
stage, I had tearaways on and I teared them off, and I was in my underwear and I performed in my underwear the entire time.
That's great. What
That
a pup.
thumbnail used to be all over my Facebook. Like I couldn't get away from that thumbnail of you in your underwear.
Yeah.
Yep, no, it's burned into my head every time I would be on YouTube Music. It would be like the first, there'd be like two, like I'd go through like two bands, and then there would be you, and it was like for like years, like 2 years straight.
What a pup thing to do too. Like that is so right up their alley, and like just like the way that they go about doing things and the way they engage with fans and everything like that. Like that's so them to do that and let you guys come up and do that. I love it.
I know. Yeah, they're such a rad band. So yeah, I know. Jeff Rosenstock's Hell Mode. I definitely got to check this record. I've definitely been
Oh
sleeping on
man.
it.
Man, make it
Um,
your first priority. It's like, oh, I have kind of a cool little thing about this album too. Uh,
yeah.
Going back to when I was in BC, uh, I had been waiting for a new Jeff Rosenstock album for a long time because I think No Dream came out in like 2020, and he's put out some stuff since then, but like not like a Jeff Rosenstock album.
Hmm.
And when he put out a couple, I think the first single, I think it was "I Like You Better," "I Liked You Better" or something like that. The single didn't really hit me all that hard. I was like, oh, it's just kind of like a radio-y kind of tune. But in the context of the album, it makes sense to me. But anyways, the album came out the day I got to BC, and for the whole drive, and really for the whole trip, we were just like listening to that album on repeat. And so like that album will always remind me of BC for my whole life. Every time I listen to it, I'm just like reminded of like my experience on the beach and my like time in the old growth trails and the road trip through the mountains and everything. Like it's so sick.
It, it's funny how like records like that can really attach memories to you, because like yeah, like Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. That record I vividly was like binge listening to while going up to my cottage for like 12 hours north when I was a teenager. And yeah, anytime I
Mhm.
listen to that record, I vividly remember those long car rides and like listening to it on a Walkman. And it's funny how, like, you know, years later now you listen to that song and obviously it's got you almost listen to it differently because you've heard it so many times, but like you can always attach yourself back to that memory just because it's like almost like where it started, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wanted to ask, but I imagine in true Nor Orphans form, you guys, like when we spoke last, you had like a record in the pocket, did you not?
Yeah, it never really amounted to much. Like we have always had trouble with like getting and keeping vocalists,
Mm-hmm.
and that ended up being our situation with the album, is that we just couldn't find somebody to do it. And then by the time that like we could have even started working with anybody, like everyone's life in the band got super busy. Like Eric is the busiest person I've ever met, basically, at this point. And Greg, the keyboard player slash synth player,
His brother.
he's got a job now that makes it almost impossible for him to get time. And like the guys are super busy. But actually, while we're thinking about it, on the subject of Eric, he is not doing so good right now. He fell off of the top floor of his cabin and broke his neck, his collarbone, his eight of his ribs, his foot, his uh shoulder, I want to say, just
Jesus.
broken to bits. He had to be airlifted from his cabin in Huntsville to Toronto in an emergency situation. He almost died, and luckily
Jesus.
he's going to make a full recovery. Like he's going to basically be at 100%, which is super lucky. But he took a nosedive into a kitchen island, or not a nosedive. Sorry, he went like pencil dive, but landed on his ribs on the kitchen island, breaking his
Oh.
ribs, broke his collarbone. He's fucked. But
Oh my
he's recovering
God.
well. Like I asked him if it was okay if I talked about it on here, and he was fine with it. Uh, but I think maybe if he wasn't going to make a full recovery, that would be a different story. But because he is, it's like, you know what I mean. But yeah, poor guy.
Damn, that's crazy. Well, yeah, let's, hope that, he's going to make a full, we know that he's going to make a full recovery. So that's good to hear. But geez,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
he fell off a cabinet?
So at his cabin, on the inside, there's like the bottom floor with the living room and the kitchen area, and then
Mm-hmm.
there's like a ladder that goes up into the guest bedroom where there's just like two beds.
Mm-hmm.
But the the overhang of the floor over top of the downstairs portion where the kitchen island is and like the front door and everything, there's no like railing or anything, which I always found like, oh, somebody is gonna eat shit one of these days. He just like kept it without a railing there. And he normally, when he goes there, which is pretty often, he sleeps downstairs on the futon pullout. It's his normal thing. So when he gets up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, he just walks straight out the front door and pees off the deck.
Yeah.
But on this occasion,
As you do. Deck biz.
he had family members staying with him for this one and gave them the more comfortable downstairs area and slept in the upstairs portion of the cabin, and woke up in the middle of the night, and just like he would normally do because he's so used to it, walk right outside to go pee off the deck, forgot that he was sleeping upstairs, walked right off the edge of the top floor and crumpled into the kitchen island of the kitchen
Oh my
downstairs.
God. That's so many bones to break at once,
Oh,
too.
I
oh my
know,
god. In
it's
the
so
blink of
crazy.
an eye, too.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, half
so.
asleep, middle of the night, crunch like a pop can.
Oh
Oh,
You
my
know,
jeez.
I saw him a few
goodness.
days ago. He's in a neck brace. He's got a cast on his foot. He had to have major surgery on his collarbone here. Oh, he had a
Wow.
severe concussion as well.
Yeah, as you do
Yeah,
from falling
poor
down that.
guy, man. I spoke to him
That's
on the phone
crazy.
today.
Yeah,
He's
poor
doing much
guy.
better.
Shout out to Eric. We know that you're going to be back playing guitar soon, and hopefully soon enough we'll hear a No Orphans record. We'll get that vocalist one
Yeah,
way or another.
yeah.
Damn, that's fucking crazy. Holy shit.
I know, right?
That yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, super
good that he's
unfortunate.
getting the help that he gets and or needs
Yeah, I've
and
been
just
thinking about it like all the time since I realized that like he's gonna be okay. Like that, just how lucky and grateful I feel that he is gonna be okay, because it very easily could have been a way worse situation.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Have you
already
ever
pretty bad.
yeah, have you ever had
Yeah,
something
but it
like
could have
that
been
happen?
permanent. He
Like
could have been paralyzed or like dead. You know what I mean? Like the fact
yeah,
that he's gonna recover and make a full recovery is amazing. Sorry,
yeah.
what were you gonna say?
I was just, have you ever had something like that happen to you where you're like something traumatic where like you've broken an arm or a leg? I've never broken a bone, so
Nothing to that level, definitely. But when I
no.
was about 14, I broke my wrist snowboarding because I went off
Oh,
a ramp that was maybe I
that's
wasn't
so
prepped
cool
for it.
sounding.
I know, right? Way cooler than falling off your goddamn top bunk of your cabin.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just do it a bit cooler.
Yeah, teenagers, if they would have fallen off that, they would have just bounced right back. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
only
Oh yeah.
only
Ow!
someone only someone in
I
their
get up.
late 30s would be not be able to get up from that mat. Like that's
Yeah.
harsh. Um all right, well that's good to know about Eric. Well, damn.
I don't know if it's good to know, but it's good to know he'll be okay.
It's good to know that he'll be okay. Yes.
Yeah. Shout out Eric.
I just had a couple more questions. If
Sure.
someone is versatile, like a versatile musician as yourself, uh, who's done an array of genres and stuff. I've always been a big fan of your first band, and I know nobody likes talking about their first stuff, but would you ever consider doing more hardcore stuff ever again? Because I don't think you've ever done anything like that ever since. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that you're exactly right because you may not know, but up until Eric had his accident, and actually a bit before that, because everybody just being really busy, Eric and I and Shap from Eaten by Sharks, and you may or may not know him. This guy named Daryl, who plays bass. I think he was in the Overfiend a long time ago, if I'm not mistaken, and Brian, who is the owner of, or maybe co-owner of, Artistic Impressions.
And Warehouse.
We have been doing a Sepultura tribute band, which is like
Oh,
about as hard as
I
it.
think I remember you mentioning that actually. Now that I think about it, yeah.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
played in
We've only
that? I
played
didn't
like a hand. Well, I came
really.
along later. I joined
Oh,
in like after they had already done their first show, I think,
was
and
Chase
so I
drumming?
yes, yeah. I don't know Chase, but like I know by name, like he was the
Yeah.
guy before me.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
I was gonna
yeah,
say I've
that's.
seen you, but I didn't see you.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So like that has been like a good way to scratch the itch of playing heavy music, which, like, to answer your question, like it's my favorite thing to play. Like of all the genres that I do, like my roots are in punk and metal and heavy music, and it's actually pretty rare now that I get to play that way. And so when I do, it's like a real treat. It's just like, again, like for the reason that I love doing my own projects so much, it's like really hard to get any kind of project going, especially now. I feel like, I don't know, people get flakier and like more busy, like more difficult to get a project going. So like if I haven't made like a heavy project, it, I mean, not only because of that, but like that's definitely a factor in it. But I love playing heavy music. It's my favorite thing to do.
Nice, nice. Yeah. No,
and
I
and
know
actually,
that.
sorry, some of the newer, like, once I'm finished releasing the album of like all the old songs and stuff, the direction that I'm heading in is going to be heavier, more
Oh,
musically adventurous, like a little bit more like technically demanding. I don't know if you got a chance to check out the track that I sent you. That's like my newer stuff, but it's like
mm-hmm.
it's a lot more like, if you remember a few years ago when COVID was just landing, I did a series of songs that were like kind of like about it, and they were like really like fusiony. There was one that was like Latin sounding but like also weirdly heavy, and there was one that was like pretty like modern fusiony sounding, and there was another one that was like heavy. And so what I'm doing with the newer Strict Month stuff is like, did you happen to catch any of those tunes when I was putting them out, like Me Over We or like Don't
No,
Spread
I
the
didn't.
Virus?
The COVID stuff.
I'll send you some links so you can check them out. But basically,
Mhm.
what I'm doing with like the new Strict Month stuff is like fusing together that sound, that like fusiony, musically explorative kind of thing, with like the songwritery, like rock punk elements that were in my older music, and trying to create kind of like a hybrid of that sound.
Cool. Well, I can't wait to hear that. So I love the. I'm looking forward to it. And like you do all of the stuff on her like Strict
Mhm.
Month. Like so like
All of it, yeah.
what you keep bringing up is how is someone who's also been in a band for a long ass time. Like Sinner AD has been 10 years, so I know how it is to work with people for so long. Not that you don't like collaborating and working with other people musically. Sometimes it's
No, I
just
do.
quicker to be thinking it with yourself and doing it with yourself, because
Mhm.
there are several times you can map out a song or play a song, especially when you have the ability like yourself to be able to play guitars and stuff like I don't have that capability to always have that, but I definitely do have the range to do some stuff on like whatever GarageBand or even Reaper to like kind of get some ideas flowing. It is just quicker
It's
and
super fun,
easier.
right? Like it feels so
Yeah.
good when you're doing it and you're getting making your ideas happen. It's like it's the most amazing dragon to chase.
That's great. That's great. Um, I was going to ask you, are there any big metal or heavy records that you've within the last like 5 years or so that have really tickled your fancy? Assuming not like so much punk, but let's get into like the metal aspect.
The thing that sticks out in my mind the most at the moment is Mutoid Man's new album. I think it's
Okay.
called Mutants. Do you know
Yeah,
Mutoid Man?
I do know
Yeah,
the band,
they're
but I've
great.
never listened to them.
Oh, you may or may not know it's the drummer from Converge, which is one of my favorite heavy bands.
Oh.
And I haven't heard much coming from Converge lately. Maybe just because like everybody's involved with their own projects. Like Kurt does
Mm-hmm.
God City Studios, and uh, Ben does Mutoid Man, and Jacob does like artwork for tons of bands, and I think like maybe even has like a label or something like that.
Death Wish.
Yeah. And so like maybe they just haven't had the time to like do a proper Converge record in a while, because the last thing I saw from them was like they've done like weird soundscapey things, and like that thing with Chelsea
Didn't
Moon.
they? Yeah, I was gonna say they did a collaborative album, which was very weird. Yeah, and they keep remastering their old releases,
Yeah,
and
that too.
the remasters actually do sound really good.
Yeah,
It's nice.
I'll
It's
say
nice
that.
to hear everything contextualized, a little less staticky.
But Mutoid Man's like gives me it like scratches the drummer itch for me as far as metal goes. Like the thing I love about Converge and their drumming, I can find in Mutoid Man, and like get the same kind of like satisfaction from that listening. But their new album Mutants is super sick, really really good.
Cool. So I got some listening to do after we're done here. I got some
Mhm.
records to dive into.
Yeah,
Um
but like I don't listen to a ton of heavy music these days. Like I feel like I have my kind of my favorites, but then I have my favorites from like all the different genres that I listen to, because I listen to like a lot of jazz related music as well, like funk and fusion and stuff like that. So it's like within and a bunch of other things as well. But like I have my cluster of artists that I tend to gravitate towards, and then like occasionally a new one filters in and stuff like that.
Tyler, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Let's cook up some current artists that we can an album that we
That I
can.
think he'd like
Yeah.
the new Chat Pile.
Oh, Chat Pile. Yeah, that's a cool
Yeah,
Chat
band.
he'd
Pile,
probably like Chat Pile. Chat Pile's fucking awesome.
Chat
Chat
Pile.
Pile's like it's like converged twice.
Oh,
Like
cool.
it's like Daughters, but like artsier.
Oh, I
Like
love that
it's
kind of shit. I love Daughters,
mhm.
especially.
Yeah, it's
I like their Hell Songs record, but I really love Canada Songs. Their first like weird.
Yeah. Canada
It's
Songs is
so
great.
bizarre and so cool.
yeah. What else is like Chat Pile would be like my like the closest thing to like someone who's really into Converge. I think that's good. Like you can find bands that sound like Converge, but like in terms of like liking like how different something like Converge sounded when it came out, like Chat Pile's like pretty close to being like that sort of like different heavy band.
I'm
Do
still
you
not
have a
clear on what the
suggestion?
name of it is. Is it Chad, the name? And
Chat.
then,
Chat.
Chat.
CHAT. Pile.
So
Chat
what the
pile,
name
okay.
is, I forget what it's a reference to. It's something to do with like their hometown out in the middle of nowhere, where like, or I don't know if it's their hometown or cities that exist in America, where like this chat pile is like some sort of like waste of something, and it actually like makes the town completely like null, and people have to move away from that town because it's like radiation or something like that. Like that's what a chat pile is, and it just happens
Yeah.
in like random rural cities in America, and nobody talk like they're very like I don't know if they're politically driven, but they've got like a lot of really interesting ideas going on in their songs.
Their songs are like uncomfortable when you pay attention to lyrics. Like it's genuinely uncomfortable to listen
cool.
to.
I like that.
Especially with the vocal delivery. Do you I thought of another one. Do you listen to Black Midi?
I have very minimal experience. I maybe like I heard one thing when they like maybe had like a really popular thing came out and I checked it out. But
I
other than that,
think
not really.
their album came out last year, but Black Midi's newest record, shit, I can't remember the name off the top of my head. Boom on screen. That record that you're now watching the edit back, Kevin, and you're seeing yourself. Say hi to yourself, Kevin.
Hello.
That's you watching it back. That's the album I wanted you to check out by Black Midi. But no, it's just their newest one. It's really cool. It's like it's not heavy in the sense that they're using drop tuning or even distortion or anything like that. It's just like a sonic assault of like different instruments hitting you all at the same time, and it's like
cool.
the vocalist sometimes sounds like an auctioneer, like straight up.
Really?
Like the way, like in his delivery, yeah,
Cool.
it's there's nothing like it. Like
Well, like
it's
with having
so
daughters as a framework for like a reference, that makes sense to me.
Black Midi's a little
Oh
less.
no, sorry,
like,
that's a different band.
Yeah,
my bad.
but still in terms of chaos, yeah, but more like it's more sonically chaotic. It's in Black Midi for sure. Yeah, those are my two recommends of the show, guys.
I got
Cool.
two
Yeah, I'll check
recommends
them
for you. I would recommend listening. I'm going to be albums specifically because they go a lot of different directions and a lot of the records. Check out Underneath by Code Orange. That's a really good record, especially if you like
I've
something
heard some
like
Code Orange in the past, and I really liked them.
yeah.
They're like kind of in the realm of like Comeback Kid, right?
Sort of. They've got all like they do all sorts of really cool like weird stuff. The new record they just put out is actually kind of like an alt rock record. It's very different. But listen
really?
to specifically Underneath. That's the one that I would recommend. And if
I'll get some links from you after we do this, so I can remember
for sure. And there was a second one that I had lined up. Oh, Better Lovers. You got to check out Better Lovers, which is Jordan Buckley of Every Time I Die's new band, and
I saw
Greg
something about that. Yeah, I'm curious.
Greg from
really good.
Dillinger Escape Plan, the singer, is in that too.
Cool.
So yeah,
Right
it's
on.
that's what I would probably recommend to you.
Doesn't the Every Time I Die singer have another new project called Many Eyes?
Many
now?
Eyes.
How's that? I haven't heard it.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, you'll definitely
Keith Bueno.
Yeah, you'll if you're a fan of Every Time I Die, and especially Keith's voice, there's no reason like you won't like it.
Cool.
So let's flip it on its head then, Kevin. What are two records that people probably haven't heard of that you would recommend that have been made this year?
That have been made this year. Let me grab my notes here.
Hell Mode.
No, we already talked about it. Albums people wouldn't have checked out. I want some what is it called? A diamond. What am I trying to say, Phil?
Diamond in the Roughs?
No, because I don't think isn't that like when something's like shitty but good, or does that mean rare?
No,
what am I thinking of?
You're looking. Yeah, it's like rare. Like you're like it's unheard.
A diamond in the rough.
Something you may not have seen, but it was revealed to you.
I'm
to
sorry.
be like...
I'm short circuiting today.
Let's see. Maybe not directly this year, but like within the last couple of years.
Sure. We'll loosen up.
It's not heavy music, but it's incredible. The Jacob Mann Big Band is like a really modern, like young, like music student version of like what you would remember as being like the classic big band sound, but it's like with kind of like modern sensibility and like a lot of like meme energy, and that the arrangements that he writes and the band that he has and the musicians that play in his band are so fucking good. I highly recommend checking out anything from his new album, which is called It's got Lewis Cole on drums, which like you may not know who Lewis Cole is, but like he's basically like internet icon of drumming. And he does like the Clowncore project, which I don't know, you may
Oh
or may not know
yes.
what Clowncore is.
Yes.
I've been working on Clowncore actually as a drum project. Their one song, Hell, has been like my drum project of late, like to absorb vocabulary and all of that stuff. But he's the drummer in that. He's got his
That's
own
so
project,
sick.
which I think he has a new album, which is worth checking out as well. But especially in the Jacob Mann Big Band, really really cool. Greatest Hits Volume 3. Oh yeah, because every album is Greatest Hits Volume 1, Greatest Hits Volume 3, but like they're all just like his albums. It tells you a little bit about the meme energy I was telling you about.
Amazing.
And then another one, let's see here. There's
So
this
good.
I'm kind of torn between these two here. This is like within the last 5 years, I think, but do you know about the video game Celeste?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay, the soundtrack
Well,
for that
yeah.
album
Okay.
is indescribably beautiful and amazing. I listen to it in headphones all the time when I'm going on walks. It's one of the things that I put on when I'm practicing the drums. If I need something to like as a backdrop to practice improvising or to like work on like concepts that I have on the go or whatever it is, I'll put on the Celeste soundtrack because it goes in all kinds of different places. But at its heart, it's like 8-bit video game music, but like with modern like recording stuff and like, you know what I mean, like nice full arrangements of like what would otherwise be like 8-bit video game music. And it's fantastic. If you haven't listened to that music, I highly recommend.
Awesome. Well, I have a whole dinner plate of music to listen to as soon as we're done with this. I am super stoked.
Me too. I look forward to checking out those bands you mentioned.
Before we wrap this up, where can everybody hit you up at? What are the social medias? What can we expect? What are the link tree links? What are we getting at?
Yeah, so you can find me on all of the platforms at Strict Month. So on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I don't really use TikTok. I tried to get with it. I'm not super keen on like self promotion and all of that stuff. I think I have a pretty balanced and healthy relationship.
We're not gonna see you doing any TikTok dances to promote the Strict Month stuff.
Well, maybe if I have kind of like I would call it like a lukewarm, cold relationship with social media. I go through periods where I post things because I know I should be because I do music things, and then like I'll go through periods where I'm more of like a bit of a recluse who just like is just doing the art all day and practicing and recording stuff and like gigging and all of that. And then I'll remember, oh yeah, like I should be part of the world. But yeah, at Strict Month for all of the things. And there is another thing that I wanted to mention because it's kind of like my business venture, you might say, but I'm offering music lessons at flowstatemusicschool.com. Primarily offered to drummers because that's my primary instrument, but I'm also offering songwriting lessons as well as like basic home production courses and like basic instruction in like guitar, bass, ukulele, piano, basically all the stuff that I'm able to do. I'm offering lessons in. So if you're interested in like, even if you're like an advanced player or whatever, like I'm sure that like your playing would be helped by like outside perspectives, and I've got lots of them. So if you've ever had an inkling, or if you like, you know me, and like you've ever had an interest in studying music with me, visit my website. The booking forms on the website. You can find me there. Really easy, and I really love teaching, so it's like something that everybody can enjoy. I think that comes to study.
Yeah, even to vouch for you a bit, one of the most talented drummers I know, Dave Johnson, shout out Dave Johnson, is working with you to improve his skills. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that should, anyone who knows Dave, that should say enough. Dave's like he's just a career musician at this point. He just plays drums for a living. He makes
more money playing than I do in his CCR cover band.
Yeah, he's doing crazy stuff. He played for Phil. Do you know the guy in St. Catharines, the stupid realtor who's on everything?
Yeah.
Fuck, I can't remember. Yeah, I think he played his
Rob Golfi. Are you talking about Rob Golfi?
Yeah, Rob Golfi. I'm pretty sure he played his like birthday or something.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Golfi gets it.
Quickly before I forget, Kevin, you played on a cruise ship, right? Or am I?
Yeah, no, you're right. I did twice actually. I did 2 contracts.
Okay. If that's been covered on the show,
you weren't on when I talked about it before, so you would be kind of out of the loop. But I was supposed to go for a third contract, and this would have been the best one of all over coastal Europe and Greece. Like it was like a lottery win of a cruise ship contract, because I think I would have visited like something like 40 different ports on it. And we fought for the contract, and like we like did everything that we could to secure it, and we finally did. And then COVID fucked it all up.
Oh, man, we hear that almost every interview, that things were going so good, and then COVID came along and just fucked everyone's shit up.
But you know, a blessing in disguise, because like I like my life now. Like the path that diverted me down ended up being one that I feel happy in, and I'm fulfilled, and like I'm doing the thing that I like doing, and you know what I mean, I'm happy with my life. Even though I had to miss out on like a really amazing experience, I still got to have amazing experiences playing on ships. So
and it's a perspective I appreciate.
yeah, I had a little grieving period, but after that I was okay.
Right on. Well, there you have it.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm really glad that I could come on and do this with you and talk about everything, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was fun.
Thanks for having us. Wait.
Yeah, no problem. We'll catch you next time on the Kevin Fournier podcast.
So yes, heaven, so yes,